Hello and welcome to Near Dark Podcast, episode 58, where this time we're gonna be talking about the movie Wreck. But first, presenting our crew, we have Josef and Zombie. How are you guys
Hi.
doing?
I'm doing quite well. Could have been doing better, but I'm not complaining.
It's like it's usually is done.
Yeah.
Well, I woke up and I felt like I was in a coma or something, but I'm starting to become human again after drinking some nice iced coffee.
It's 5 in the afternoon, by the way.
It is.
Okay. Oh well.
But yeah, I'm good besides that.
Cool.
Yeah, how are you doing, Ogge?
Like shit.
Like shit.
Anyway. No, I'm good. So, do we have any recently scenes?
Well, it's we haven't recorded for almost 2 months, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
And surprise, surprise, I have nothing. Been playing games, so yeah.
well, you're a busy man, zombie.
I am.
Yeah, have you seen anything, Ogge?
Not anything horror related. I've seen a lot of action movies though.
Well, bring him on then.
Okay, well I've seen John Wick 1 and 2.
Ooh, those movies are great.
Yeah. Like the story is kind of ridiculous and makes no sense, but
Yeah.
it's all about the action scenes.
Yeah, it's over the top nonsense.
Yeah. The choreography is awesome. And like in every movie he kills a guy with a pen.
Ooh.
I think the first movie he kills one guy with a pen. The second movie he kills two guys with a pen.
Yeah, I haven't seen those movies for like, well,
Ever.
it's, I think I saw them like 6 months after the third movie was released again. But I'm gonna rewatch them before the fourth installment comes out. So, but yeah, they are really good, those movies.
Yeah. Like the choreography is amazing. You can like slow down. Like you could watch it in slow motion, and like just one scene when it kills a guy over and over, and it's like amazing.
Yeah.
It's choreography porn. That's what it is.
Neat.
But you haven't seen the third one.
No, I haven't.
Oh boy, if my memory serves me correct, the third one is the best out of the three.
Okay.
It's super over the top, and I mean over the top. You will understand what I
Okay.
mean when you're watching it.
Yeah. Anyway, I've also watched The Liberator. I've seen a lot of movies.
Yeah.
There's a show on Netflix called The Liberator. And it's a war show. It's pretty short. I think it's just 30 or 50 minutes episode.
Oh.
So it's really short.
No.
But it's a war story about in a very similar theme of Band of Brothers.
Okay.
Where there's a crew of essentially criminals who are in like prison because it's the 40s and was pretty racist back then, so they didn't really they didn't care much for brown people, Indians.
Yeah.
So they kind of put them in like a camp where there was pretty much trash. And then there's one guy who like took them in and made a unit of them. and they became like great. I don't know if it's based on real life or not, but yeah, that's the story of the show.
Yeah. Okay. Is it played straight, or is there like comedic reliefs, or?
There's no comedic reliefs.
Okay, it's played straight
It's a-
then.
Yeah, it's a very serious show,
Okay.
and it has a really weird animation style. It's hard to tell if it's animated or if it's just shot and put through like a shit ton of effects.
Okay, so it looks like an animated movie, but
Yeah,
it
looks like
yeah, that's the style of movie making. I can't remember what it's called, but speaking of Keanu Reeves, he's in a movie called A Scanner Darkly, where they shot the entire movie as a live action movie, but then they put on animation on the shot movie. So it looks
Yeah.
like it's animated, but it's not really. It's really weird, and when you watch it for the first time, you're like,
yeah.
It's kind of hard to explain.
Yeah.
But okay, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's a really good show. And it's kind of what I like about shows like that, where it's really short. It's not like 5 seasons spanning over a lifetime.
Yeah.
It makes its point and then goes away.
Yeah, it's short, sweet, and to the point.
Yeah. And I've watched a movie. I don't know if I talked about this, but this is a B movie from like the 70s or 80s called TNT Jackson.
I know of that movie. I've never seen it, but I know of it. And you haven't mentioned it before.
Okay, it's about a girl who's called TNT Jackson, and her brother gets murdered by a kung fu evil guy, and they're gonna hold a tournament, and she's gonna infiltrate it. And
Yeah.
very similar plot of like Bruce Lee Way of the Dragon. And it's pretty entertaining, but the choreography sucks and the acting sucks.
It's one of those cheap knockoff
Yeah.
kind of movies.
Yeah, it's pure, blaxploitation.
Oh, those movies can be pretty fun.
Yeah, it's the movie where you're laughing at the movie,
Ah.
and it's hilarious. If you're into that sort of stuff, you're gonna like TNT Jackson because it's so silly.
I think I might watch that tonight.
Yeah,
Perhaps if I got time over tonight, I'll be seeking it out.
yeah,
For some.
It really goes to show that good choreography can make or break a movie.
yeah.
Well, other good examples of good fighting movies where the whatever that word was,
Choreography.
thank you, is good, but the movie in itself is perhaps not that good. And I'm thinking of Mortal Kombat, the Paul W.S. Anderson movie.
Yeah,
The movie in itself is super PG and it's based on a R-rated game.
Well,
Yeah.
I love it.
And the acting is okay. The fighting is really good, and the action is really good. But the plot and the whole structure of the movie is just like
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about an actor I don't remember his name, but it's I don't think you guys know him, but like he's not very famous, but he's like a black guy who made where like an act in like action movies from the 80s, early 90s, and he did lots of kung fu sci-fi movies. It was kind of like Sylvester Stallone that wasn't famous, or Dolph Lundgren. I don't, yeah, I don't remember his name, but he made a lot of movies, and they were all kind of like that, with not very good acting and not a good story, but had a great choreography.
Yeah. Well, there was a whole market for those type of movies during the 70s, 80s, and, well, pretty far into the 90s as well. Where they pumped out these pretty shitty B-action movies. But they were the cost to make them were so low that they made a profit of them on the VHS market.
Yeah. Also, I rewatched Dread and Mad Max Road Warrior.
Ooh.
The Carl Urban movie.
Yeah.
That is fucking good. If we were covering action movies, that one would be at my top of the list to cover.
Yeah.
It's so fucking violent.
It's one of my favorite. I think it's one of my favorite action movies of all time.
Same here.
It's so
Same here.
good.
It's so fucking good.
Yeah.
And the other one you said, Mad Max Road Warrior.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
the second one.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
What?
I liked it the first time, but the second time I watched, I didn't like it.
We just lost contact with Ogge here.
So sad.
Yeah. Should we push on, Zombie?
The show must go on.
Yeah.
But yeah, why didn't you like it this time around?
This time I thought it was kind of cheesy. I mean, some of the action scenes looked really good, but I didn't like the story or the characters that much, and everything looked just way over the top.
Hand on my heart, I've only seen the first 3 Mad Max movies once.
Same.
But I remember that I thought that the second movie was the best out of
Oh, definitely.
out of
Yeah.
out of all 4 of the movies, to be honest.
Yeah, by far.
Because of mostly because of the last chase scene with the truck. That chase scene is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it is.
But
Actually, the entire second movie is great, I think.
yeah, I remember there was a character who were in there for comic relief. That helicopter guy or whatever he was.
Yeah, on his like self-made helicopter thingy.
Yeah, it's sort of like the one you can fly around in Far Cry 4. I think they ripped that thing out of Rogue Warrior.
Like the pretty simple one-man ones.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but they may exist. Like, I do positively think that they are like a real thing. Not simply a very much like simplified ones.
Yeah, well, the Road Warrior is a product of the 80s, early 80s, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
the one I've
Mad
seen.
Max series is good.
Come again?
The Mad Max series is good. It's very just.
Yeah,
nice
well,
to-
the only one out of the 4 movies I've seen multiple times is the latest one, Fury Road, and I think that movie is fucking brilliant.
It is.
but I need to rewatch Road Warrior. But from what I can remember, I really enjoyed that movie. Mostly
Yeah.
because of the last chase scene. Since they when they crashed in the movie, they crashed for real. It wasn't any CGI bullshit, and that impresses me more than some computer generated images.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It makes it very much more real to
yeah,
the scene.
yeah,
Yeah.
But I also
So
just appreciate how they, like, what I remember, because I've only watched, like, the first three ones, that they just put you in this apocalyptic world without really having a deep explanation of why, what, and how. And they just, here's Max, go play. And just
isn't
have
it
it
something about the
an
the,
oil
the
crash.
yeah,
the
It,
thing is, I think if we're talking about old ones, the first movie doesn't feel very apocalyptic. It feels like they're just in a regular small town.
yeah,
It's it's not what you would expect from a Mad Max movie at all. But it's
yeah? Not today, but back in the 70s, they didn't know anything else.
yeah,
yeah,
maybe. But I think Mad Max, like this,
but it was nice.
from what I remember from the first movie is that they first, like they only say that, oh, there's this whole apocalyptic thing, and then it just turns into like a small town. Uh, as far as I remember.
Yeah, I was thinking about that as well while I was watching the first movie.
I
It felt like they wanted to do a post-apocalyptic movie, but they didn't have the resources for it or something.
Yeah,
yeah. It feels like with
but
every movie that comes from Mad Max, it gets more and more apocalyptic.
Yeah,
Like the downgrade of like society just degrades each and every time. Because first you have a semi town, and then you have this fort, and then you have this chaos town. It got back a bit of civilization, but maybe not in the good way, you know. And then you have the fourth one where, again, society, but shit.
yeah,
yeah. What I don't like about the third Mad Max movie is that it starts out great as this like brutal
yeah,
R-rated post-apocalyptic thing, and then in like the midpoint of the movie, it turns into like a 3D no PG-13 family movie sort of.
yeah. An adventure movie with kids.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
The thing is that the third Mad Max movie wasn't supposed to be a Mad Max movie from the beginning.
Okay.
It was meant to be sort of a riff on the I can't remember the English title for it, but it's called Flugornas Herre in Sweden.
Lord of the Flies.
Lord of the Flies, thank you. It was supposed to be a post-apocalyptic riff on that, but then it turned into a Mad Max script after a while. That's why the movie is like it is. But I totally agree with you, Ogge. The first part of the movie when they're in the Thunderdome and they are fighting, that those scenes are fucking great.
Yeah.
But after that, the movie, it nosedives, and well, it's okay for what it is, but it it felt like it could have been a hell of a lot better than it turned out to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Most of the quotes that people remember from the movie is from the first half of the movie.
Yeah. We want Thunderdome!
2 men
Yeah.
enter, 1 man leaves.
It's like when people are talking about Mad Max, what they're really talking about is the second movie and the first half of the third movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what people remember.
Yeah. Not too many people have even seen the first movie.
Nope. But I think we should move on. And I'll talk like another 10 minutes of Mad Max.
Yeah.
We have went down a rabbit hole.
So thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Mad Max. I wish you all goodbye.
Yeah. Have you seen anything else, Ogge?
No,
Okay.
probably not.
I've watched a bunch of things, but I'm just gonna pick out 3 of them. Otherwise, we'll be here until next Sunday. Yeah, I mentioned on, I think it was the New Year's episode we did, the Bloody New Year episode, that I was gonna watch a movie called Elves from 1988, I think. And I did, and it turned out to be one of the weirdest and shittiest movies I've ever seen in my entire life. It's about these 3 girls who goes out into the woods to do a ritual for some reason, and they accidentally wake up an elf, and this elf is the product of a experiment the Nazis did during World War II to make these elves basically fuck virgins to make super soldiers. I'm not making this up. This is the story of the movie. And
What a mess.
And to be honest, while I was watching the movie, I was like, "What the hell is going on? What is this movie about?" So when the movie was finished up, I went on Google and looked up the VHS cover of the movie, and I read what the movie was about, and that is what the VHS cover said. The elf, the elf creature looked like some, cheap Halloween costume you can buy for like $5 at one of those cheaper stores,
Yeah.
It was super plasticky and it looked fake as all hell. And the acting was overall pretty bad. The story made no sense, like I said. There's one scene in the movie that has really stuck with me, and that is it's a scene just after the prologue of the movie. The main lead girl showers, and when she's done, she's standing in the bathroom, and her little brother peeks on her for some reason.
What?
She confronts him and tells him he's a fucking perv, and he answers with, "I'm not a perv, I like to watch naked girls." Yes, really.
Come back.
I'm speechless. What?
And she responds with, "I'm your fucking sister," which he replies with, You got big fucking tits, and I'm gonna tell everybody that I saw them. I'm seriously not making this up.
You gotta. Please, you gotta.
No, I'm not. I'm seriously not making this up. It's what's happening in the movie. And this is like the first 10 minutes of the movie. I had to pick up my jaw from the floor after that scene.
That's when you know it's gonna be just quality movie time.
Yeah,
Oh.
well, I don't know what else to say about it, really. It's something. It's something. The next movie I'm gonna just talk quick about is the Crazies remake from 2010. I don't know if you guys have seen that one, perhaps.
It doesn't ring a bell
No, I
now.
haven't.
It's a remake of a George A. Romero movie from the 70s.
I've probably heard about it.
Yeah. Well, it's about this small town that some of the farmers in this farmer community starts to kill their families all of a sudden without any reason, and pretty soon the military shows up and quarantines the entire city. And it's not a zombie movie, but it is in that vein, so to speak. I saw the original of that movie 10 plus years ago, and from what I remember, I thought it was really fucking boring. The remake, on the other hand, is really fucking good. It's definitely one of the best remakes made, at least since the last 15 years. So that's a recommend from me, if you haven't seen it. And the third and last thing I'm gonna talk real quick about here is the possession of Hannah Grace. It's about this ex-cop who gets a job, the night shift at a morgue, and the day after she has started to work, they receive the corpse of a young girl who's all mutilated, and pretty soon weird things start to happen in the morgue, and she starts to realize that it might have something to do with the corpse. It starts out as a exorcism movie, but as the movie progresses, it starts to slowly turn into some supernatural slasher movie. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed that one. It was really, really, really good. Yeah, I guess none of you have seen that one. It's pretty recent. I think it came out 2018. So it's a pretty recent movie.
I have not seen it, no.
I think you guys should.
What was the name of it again?
The Possession of Hannah Grace.
Ah, I'll write it down.
I remember the title from somewhere.
You might have seen the trailer or something, then, perhaps.
Yeah.
One last thing. I think I mentioned it on the New Year's episode again. But I've been rewatching Dexter for the upcoming 9th season.
You did mention that.
I'm almost done with season 4. And the series is still as good as it was the first time I saw it. The only downside is that I know all of the major plot points and twists. But I was actually a bit surprised because there's been things happening in the series that I didn't remember at all. So yeah, it's a good watch.
That's nice.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
What are your expectations for the new season?
What my expectations are?
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope it's as good as at least the four first seasons. I can't remember much from the 5th season, nor the 7th. Season 6 and 8 I remember some parts from, but the first 4 seasons are the best. Then it kind of goes a little bit downhill, but I think the series as a whole is pretty solid.
Yeah.
But as with all series that goes beyond 4 or 5 seasons, it starts to tremble a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's about it. I want to plug something, by the way. I did a guest appearance on another podcast last night. Film Fett Solo, the Swedish movie podcast I guested on like a year and a half ago, I think. When me and the host, Robin, talked about the Punisher franchise. And that episode we recorded last night is already out, which will be a week back. So go check that out if you understand Swedish, because we were talking a lot of Swedish in that episode. And we talked about Class of 1999, which we did an episode on here on Near Dark podcast as well. But the boys that I talked to on Film Fett Sol didn't call me names and made me cry.
Okay. Good.
As it should be.
Yeah.
So we're ready to roll the trailer?
Yeah. One thing about the trailer, it's mostly just people running in stairs and some screaming and a lot of noises, so it isn't much of a talkative trailer, really.
Okay. I can imagine.
Yeah. So if you're interested in the trailer, go and watch it on YouTube or something.
Okay. So, here's a lot of screaming and shouting. Enjoy.
Tranquilízate. Bien.
Some news reporters are doing a coverage from a fire department, and they go to apartment complex on an alarm, and they soon become quarantined without knowing what the fuck's going on. So that's the plot, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty
It's-
much, yeah.
Yeah, they get locked in, and that's not good. So,
It's not.
No.
Okay, I misunderstood the movie every time I've seen the movie though.
Yeah,
Maybe
the
it's just
movie
one big
shows you.
giant sleepover.
Yeah. The movie is gonna explain exactly why being quarantined is a bad idea.
I see.
Yeah.
At least
okay.
unexplained so.
Yeah. So I'm mostly curious about Zombie because this was our first time watch for you, right?
It was. And prior to watching it, I didn't know a lot about it. I had like seen or heard a few things about it here and there because people talk about it and whatnot.
We mentioned this movie a lot on the podcast as well.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
the beginning was a tad bit slow, but when things happened, it happened like very like fast and unexplained, but you understood it nonetheless. For a what I would assume be a found footage film,
Yeah.
it's good. I enjoyed this one much more than Blair Witch. And they had a very like good reason to have a good camera to film it on and still be able to be a found footage one, which is pretty nice. And yeah, the baby demon or the child demon, I appreciated that. I personally didn't like it because if I ever saw it in real life, I would punt it so fast because it would be terrifying. But
You're talking about the ending now, or?
when the child, I think it's in towards the ending, yeah, when the child is finally turned.
Okay, yeah, okay, all right.
But
Okay.
altogether, it was a pretty good movie, and a lot happens under a short amount of time, and I unintentionally like caught myself like halfway through the movie just sitting like invested, like what happens? What's gonna happen now? Like you weren't necessarily like caring about the characters' survival, but you were like invested. But I was invested in like the story of what would happen more so. And the ending, I liked it. A bit much of like semi explanation of the whole like what's been going on here, but
It's a very
That-
it's a very vague explanation.
yeah, it's very vague, but it is there, so you can like pick it up and piece things together. But also the ending, I did like it because that thing was terrifying, man. That thing was terrifying. I did not like it. The moment I saw it like as a vague shape in the distance, I was like, you know what? I no. I would just jump. No, because just imagining like having to deal with that, even if you couldn't see it and only see it like night vision. No. So I would give this a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10 because yeah, The effects may have been not the best, but they were not bad. Definitely not, in my opinion. And the acting was pretty much the same, I would say.
Okay.
How about the rest of you?
Yeah. So, you, Joseph?
Okay, first off, I think I'm a bit over familiar with Rec, unfortunately. It has started to become one of those, the white noise type of movies where you've seen it so many times that when you watch it you just tune out and you start to, you grab your phone and all of a sudden the movie has ended. Unfortunately. But with that being said, I think that Rec is the best found footage horror movie ever made. Period. And the reasons are it got the action, it got the scares, it's very well acted, and it's at least for the first time when you see it, it's really, really fucking intense.
Yeah.
The characters aren't excuse me, aren't really deep, and some of them are pretty one-dimensional, of course. But at the same time, who the fuck cares? The movie is meant to be a thrill ride through and through. Uh, Obviously, with some, slower parts here and there for exposition, and sort of a breathing room for the viewer. Even though there are the slower parts are there, I think they have this underlying intensity to them. Since you as the viewer know that something's gonna happen, and it can happen at any time. And now I'm talking about the first time viewer, of course. I've seen this movie I don't know 35 times. If it was in English, I would be able to quote things they say in it, I guess. The only thing I don't like with the movie is actually probably the ending. Mostly because, and this is without spoiling anything for Zombie, who haven't
Yeah.
seen any of the sequels. I know where things gonna go in the sequels, and that makes me a little bit sour. With the ending, I mean.
Yeah.
But as a standalone movie, if you don't take the sequels into account, I think Rec is nearly a perfect found footage horror movie. It got the thrills, the scares, the gore, and I don't think anything else has ever come close to Rec when it comes to this type of film. And to be honest, I don't think anything else will ever come even close to it either. But yeah, I think Rec is a great pick for the show, and I'm actually very happy that Ogge picked it. And if he hadn't picked it, I would have done it later down the line, with the small difference that I would have picked Rec and the first sequel in a double feature, since the second movie picks things up right where the first movie left off. So it's a 10 out of 10. It's a no-brainer for me. It's a 10 out of 10, without a doubt. It got its shortcomings, sure, but as a whole, I think it's a goddamn good horror movie.
Nice.
What do you think about it, Ogge? It's your pick.
I hate it. No.
Okay.
That's why I picked it. I thought we were
Yeah.
gonna repeat a new one. Fuck.
Yeah. No, I love it. Well, like you said, this is definitely by far the best found footage movie ever made and ever will be made, probably.
Yeah.
And one part of it's for me it's two really simple reasons. The first one, they have a real camera guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But one thing, he's called Pablo in this movie.
yeah.
He's also in the second movie where he's called Rosso. His real name is Pablo Rosso.
Cool.
Like that way they win no matter what.
Yeah. And what this movie does well is pretty simple. It scares the crap out of you.
Yeah.
It's very few movies that can scare the crap out of you the way this movie can. Especially, and I'm especially referring to the ending. But also, like, the jump scares. Like, when they drop someone... there's one scene when they drop someone on the floor
Yeah.
when everybody's talking. And it's completely unexpected. And it also... It's a very creative jump scare. And also it stresses you... It really stresses you out during the climax. Where it just... Everything just spirals out of control in one instant.
Yeah.
Like they make like one little mistake and it just spirals out of control.
Yeah.
It just keeps getting worse or nothing gets
Yeah.
better.
Well,
And-
it goes from this pretty sure that they are in a really stressful situation, but it's calm during the middle of the movie,
Yeah.
and then just in 1 second everything just turns to shit and everything just spirals out of control, just in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like they're in a very tense situation where you have the feeling that it could go wrong in so many ways, but they're throughout the first half they're always in control. So they're relatively safe all the time. But then they make like one mistake where I'm not gonna spoil it, but they make one very small mistake and it just goes completely to shit after that.
Yeah.
And it's very it's very stressful at the end when they're like being chased. And yeah.
And the whole movie is really claustrophobic as well. You know,
Yeah.
they're trapped in this staircase and they have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And the infected are basically everywhere.
Yeah. And throughout the movie it has this whole mystery of what's going on. Where you do get some explanation for it. Like you know what's important about how it happened, but you don't know like any details.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to rewatch the movie to be able to make it out, but the explanation is there.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like Zombie said, it's very vague, but it's there.
Yeah. So this is probably one of, in my top 3 best horror movies. Simply because it's so terrifying.
Yeah.
No movie has legit scared me like this does. This has.
Not to cut you off, but Wreck is actually one of the few movies that has scared me. I mean, genuinely scared me. The very first time I saw it, I almost shat my pants.
Yeah.
I saw this when it just was released, and we hadn't seen anything like this before. So I guess that helped the movie for me to scare me, because I didn't know what to expect of it. Nowadays we got tons of found footage movies that are trying to do the same thing, but it's the result is more often shit than good, unfortunately.
Yeah, I've never seen a found footage movie pulling it off anywhere near as good as Wreck.
Yeah.
It's definitely in a league of its own. And I've actually shown it to a lot of my friends, and there's one particular jump scare at the end, and I think we all know exactly what scene I'm referring to. And everybody has screamed. I've showed it for us. Jumped and screamed at that particular scare.
It's when the lamp is shut off on the camera, right? I don't know.
Yeah. When it's looking at the attic and sticks the camera up.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that scared the shit out of me the first time I saw this.
Yeah.
You're just expecting something because it just. Otherwise, you've always had like Pablo behind the camera, but now he's erasing the camera. You're all alone in the attic as like the viewer, and it's that was tense.
I did not want him to see what was in there. I did not want to know.
No.
And Angela is like, no, don't do it. And he's like, yeah, we must.
Yeah.
I was also like, don't do it. I don't want to know.
But then again, this isn't the first time he's done that.
Yeah. This is definitely 10 out of 10. This may easily makes my top 5 best horror movies ever.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm a bit too familiar with the movie. I love it. I really do. I really do love this movie. But at the same time, it's sort of like putting on some, comfy old slippers. And you just get into the groove with the movie, and it just turns into this background noise, and you start to do something else while watching it, because you know exactly what's coming. But still, it's a 10 out of 10, without a doubt. It's one of the best movies we've covered on this podcast so far.
Yeah, it's not without reason why we bring it up every time somebody mentions a found footage movie.
Yeah. There's a reason for it.
Yeah.
So, do you want to change your rating or?
Well, now that you think.
Nah, it's
I think I'm gonna. I think I'm gonna put it at a solid 7.5 at the moment, but maybe an 8 also, because discussing it does help. Put it into perspective what you just watched and whatnot. And I personally don't have experience other than this and Blair Witch as found footage movies. Blair Witch as found footage movies. So
you've seen Grave Encounters. We covered that one as well.
Yeah.
We have.
Yes, we have, and it was Ogge's pick as well.
Yeah. I don't remember what you guys gave that for a score, but I think it was like a 5.
Was I here for that?
Come again, zombie.
I don't know if I was here for Grave Encounters, or was I? I'm not sure.
I know you were on the podcast, but I'm not sure if you were on the episode.
But yeah, I have simply put very limited view of found footage, so as I've seen those two very different. I don't really have the same worldview of Wreck as this holy grail of found footage as of yet.
we will cover more found footage. Believe me, there are tons and tons and tons of them out there, and
I do believe that.
and a lot of them are not good.
Have we ever done Paranormal Activity?
No, we haven't,
No.
and I'm dreading that day.
Yeah.
I hand on my heart, I fucking hate Paranormal Activity, the movies. I hate them with a passion.
It is as I really like that they wanted to make a found footage, but they also wanted to make it good quality, so you didn't have to watch this like phone video all throughout the movie, and actually decided to go with a newscast, which is they should have a good camera and as a cameraman, so you don't have to have switch between the camera and who's holding it.
Yeah.
So you just get one guy, but he still had personality because you heard him all of the time. You sometimes saw his feet.
Yeah, it
yeah.
turns out it's a good idea to have a cameraman while making a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It's very good.
Yeah.
Recommend it. 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had an excuse to use a cameraman and still be found footage, and yeah, and it's nice.
Have you guys seen the remake?
No.
No, from both of you.
Yeah.
No, I have not
Maybe
seen
we
it.
should cover it.
Okay. Well, it's called Quarantine. It came out a year after Rec came out in 2008.
I don't want to see it.
Me and Tagger did a mini-sode on remakes, and we talked about both Rec and Quarantine. But I think we should make
An official episode on it.
yeah, at some point. But we I think we should cover the Rec movies first.
Yeah, the 2 to 4 other.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a sequel to Quarantine as well, which is
Oh, good God.
it's it's a new movie basically. It has nothing to do with any of the sequels to Rec.
That's all.
Yeah. Probably a good idea.
There's a reason for it, but we can talk about that in the next Rec episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there will be some pretty big spoilers. But yes,
I think this is one of the episodes we have reviewed the movie without majorly spoiling it,
yeah, well,
which is nice.
this is a movie you shouldn't really listen to, well, about or
Yeah.
read about. It's a movie you should watch
Yeah.
Alone.
in the
It
dark.
really is effective
Yes.
when you don't know what happens in it.
Mm.
And like, I remember like after watching it that I had seen like few clips, but like nothing major, and that did help a lot in getting a genuine reaction,
Yeah.
because the tension is very real in when they have those scenes.
Mm.
So I look forward to seeing other found footage.
We will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all downhill from here, just so you know.
Can't wait.
It's a big nosedive.
Yeah.
We will crash and burn. But yeah, is there anything
yeah.
else to talk about really without spoiling the movie?
Like,
No.
no, I wouldn't say so.
Well, I got a question for you, Ogge. What do you think about Manuela Velasco?
Overall, I like her as a character.
No,
She
I
does
meant
get-
I meant if she's hot or not.
She's hot, yeah.
yeah, okay. You would do her?
I would.
Okay. Nice.
Who wouldn't?
But yeah, I think Manuela Velasco is perfect in the lead role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's hot.
What other
Yeah.
works has she been in?
Wreck 2.
Well, she's the recurring character in the Wreck movies. Yeah, without saying anything else. And she's been in some other Spanish movies, but she also works as a real life TV reporter.
Ooh.
So that's kind of fitting,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it is.
It does help with the beginning at the very least, when
Yeah.
they are
That's why her
having
performance
that
is so
moment.
great.
But
Like like the way she acts is just like a TV reporter making a show for like
yeah, she feels genuine. In the
Yeah.
remake, guess who's playing the Angela character?
uh, Jennifer Aniston. I think she's called. No, yeah.
No, not Jennifer Aniston. Jennifer Carpenter,
Yeah, okay, Jennifer Carpenter. Yeah,
Dexter's sister.
yeah.
Every time I watch Quarantine, I can't think about anything else. That's Dexter's sister. That's Dexter's sister.
Yeah. Well, she's been in a lot of movies though.
She did the voice for Kidman in The Evil Within, the first game.
Yeah.
But she was replaced in the second one for some reason.
Yeah, she were in Blood Diamond too.
Never seen that.
Okay.
Get out of here!
Get out of here. Well, it's not like... I don't know if I can say it's a must watch, but it's a really good movie, I think. It's,
And she's hot as well, so
yeah.
yeah.
It's like a grown-up adventure movie. Yeah.
That
I
sounds
think that's
interesting.
yeah. Like an adventure movie that's like, well, maybe R-rated.
Huh.
Maybe.
I'm gonna check
Well-
that out.
Yeah.
Maybe we should round this up.
Yeah, I got a lot of background. Do you have anything, any last things you want to talk about before we head into that?
No, I don't.
I think
I've said my piece.
I think I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come wipe, Ogge.
What? Come wipe.
Come wipe. You know, I'm done. Come wipe.
Oh, haha. Yeah.
Fuck.
Bad
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, I think this might be the movie we got most background for, to be honest. I dug up a lot of stuff. The budget was 1.5 million euros, which is about $1.8 million. So this is probably considered a low budget movie, really. Even though it doesn't look like one. The worldwide box office gross was about $32.5 million. But I found a source that said 8.1 million euros, which I think is bullshit. Perhaps it was just for Europe or something. Paco Plaza, one of the two directors, previously directed, and I'm gonna butcher this, Cuento de Navidad, which is also known as Christmas Tale, or Xmas Tale, in 2005, and Jaume Balaguero, the other director, directed Para Entrar a Vivir, which is also known as To Let, in 2006. Both of these movies were included in, and I'm gonna butcher this as well, Películas para no dormir, which is also known as 6 Films to Keep You Awake, which was 6 made-for-TV horror movies which I personally think was sort of the Spanish answer to the Masters of Horror TV series, which had a similar concept. Do you guys know what Masters of Horror was?
No.
Masters of Horror were a TV series which was like the Into the Dark series, but instead of 1.5 hour long episodes slash films, each movie were about 1 hour long. And the Masters of Horror TV series was made up by all of these well-known horror directors like John Carpenter, Tobe Hooper, Dario Argento, and so on. Plaza and Balaguero continued on with the Rex series, of course, and co-directed the second movie together, and they split up parts 3 and 4 between each other. Plaza did part 3, and Balaguero did part 4. And Balaguero had also previously directed Darkness from 2002, which was an American-Spanish co-production, and Fragiles from, I don't know if I pronounced that right, from 2005, which was a Spanish-English co-production. I've seen both of them. I don't know how long since it was, but I've seen both of them. I remember them being pretty good. The actors were never given the script in its entirety, so none of them knew of their characters' fates, and sometimes not until the day they were actually filming their death scenes. And this meant that the actors were more often than not stressed, nervous, and apprehensive on the day of filming, which, well, were ideal qualities for the film itself, of course. When it came to casting, the directors deliberately chose actors who were not familiar with each other to help make the piece more realistic. The actors who were chosen were also good at the improvisation. The building where the film was shot is these Spanish names. Sedimatexa building in Rambla de Catalunya 34 at the Eixample district in Barcelona. Fucking hell. It was assaulted by a group of youngsters in 2007 after the film became a hit. And it's often visited by tourists and fans. And Rec was also one of the major inspirations for the 2013 first-person survival horror game Outlast. The home video release for Rec wasn't released in the US until after its 2008 remake, Quarantine, had been out in theaters, and the 2009 sequel, Rec 2, had been confirmed. The film premiered in August of 2007 at the 64th Venice International Film Festival, out of competition in the opening and closing films sessions. It was also shown in October of the same year at the Sitges Film Festival and the Malaga International Week of Fantastic Cinema in November of 2007, before going on general release in Spain later that month. Rec was also shown in February of 2008 at the Glasgow Film Festival, and the co-directors participated in a corresponding interview in which they revealed their influences during the creation of the cinema work, and I quote, "Our main reference was TV, was not other films or a tradition of previous features. I think the main influence for us was TV. What we wanted was to build a classic horror story, but telling it in the way of a TV show," which I think they accomplished.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
Rec was then released in the United Kingdom and Sweden in April of 2008. It's got a couple of more things here. The review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes reports an 89% approval rating based on 37 reviews, with an average rating of 7.52 out of 10. So I guess Zombie was the closest of us.
Hey.
The site's consensus states, and I quote, plunging viewers into the nightmarish hellscape of an apartment complex under siege, Wreck proves that found footage can still be used as an effective delivery mechanism for Spare's economic horror. Reviewing the film for the BBC, Jamie Russell called it, and I quote, a runaway roller coaster of a fright flick, praising the quote-unquote folks docu handheld style and the sense of claustrophobia and confusion, claiming that, quote, Wreck will definitely jangle the nerves. However, Russell criticized the lack of substance and a, quote-unquote, one-dimensional supporting cast. Yeah, well, who cares? Like I said earlier.
And well, usually in those situations, you don't really have like your all-out personality in front of strangers, even in stressed situations. You
Yeah.
only see like the bad stuff,
There wasn't.
which isn't very
Well,
deep.
there wasn't any time to develop the characters either.
No.
So it would have just bloated the running time and made the movie slow, and that
Yeah.
wasn't what they was going for.
And especially with the amount of characters you had, it would feel out of place to suddenly have this deep moment with one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Okay, I got 3 more things to go, then I'm done. Bloody Disgusting awarded the film 4.5 stars out of 5, with the reviewer writing, quote, Wreck has it all, and is probably one of the best Spanish horror films in recent memory. Bloody Disgusting later ranked the film 11th in their list of the top 20 horror films of the decade, with the article stating, quote, out of all the quote-unquote shaky cam films, this one is arguably the best. In the early 2010s, Time Out conducted a poll with several authors, directors, actors, and critics who have worked within the horror genre to vote for the top horror films. Rec placed at number 54 on their top 100 list. And the very last thing I got here, and this doesn't really concern the first movie, but I thought it would fit to just throw it in there. A comic book compilation was released in 2012 to accompany the release of Rec 3, titled Rec Historias Ineditas. The book presents 5 different works set in the Rec series, each with their own story arc and illustrator. Most of the stories explains and tie up some of the loose ends that the movies left. I had a list of what each story was about, but if I was gonna read them out, it will spoil.
Spoilers.
Yeah, it will spoil some plot points throughout the series for you, Zombie, so I didn't include them.
You can talk about them later when we
Yeah,
have seen like
but we
most.
could talk about that comic when we cover Rec 3.
the rest.
Yeah, but that's everything I got.
Okay.
Like I said, it was a lot.
Yeah, that was a lot. So, I think we're all done then.
Let's wrap this one up.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, for the next episode, it's gonna be My Bloody Valentine's, right?
Yeah, 3D, the remake from 2009, I think. 2008 or 2009.
Okay.
Yes.
A 3D remake. What could possibly go wrong?
Wow. I'm not gonna spoil my thoughts about it here, but
Okay.
I leave it at that.
Okay.
And we are playing out with Carlos An, Voodoo, which plays over the ending credits of Rec.
Fitting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's pretty fitting.
I actually thought it would just be some what's it called, ambience sounds during the credits in this movie, but well, apparently not.
Yeah.
So I was gonna go with a Spanish Euro disco track from the 90s, but then I figured that this track would be more fitting to the episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, ready to say goodbye to the good people then.
Goodbye, good folks.
Goodbye, good people.
Goodbye, good people. Thanks for listening, and hopefully we'll hear from you in another episode.
Yeah. Bye.
Las serpientes asoman por tus hombros. Rockin' baby. Tus colmillos asoman por la ventana. Rockin' baby. Tus principios todavía no se han forjado. Descúbreme los paraísos artificiales. Rockin' baby. Dios asustado ha dejado la ciudad. Rockin' baby. Las disciplinas del arte se rinden ante ti. Rockin' baby. Cuando meneas ese culito tan experimental has heredado el movimiento del vudú. Del vudú. Rockin' baby. Rockin' baby. Rockin' baby. Rockin' baby. Rockin' baby. Rockin' baby. Rockin' baby.
Rockin' baby. Rockin' baby. Rockin' baby. Rockin' baby. Rockin' baby.